Yeah, doesn't want me to go sideways with it. I don't, it's the first time I'm probably operating this newest system. Probably just heard that knock bang. That isn't from, might be partly come from there. One part of it came from behind me, and the other part seemed to come from there. But anyways, to get into all the weird, spooky stuff right away. I just thought I'd come on here and talk about this corner. This is where I've had the experience from over there that you can see the fishermen out there. The experience that one of the beings from one of the families, from one of the clans, was over here. And they had a rock throwing kind of fun experience with me. If I recall the numbers correctly, that was silly that it did it that much. Like, I did do the focusing like that, where I tapped the screen, but it didn't need to do that. So if you're starting to become aware, energy, ability glitches, and you figure the camera company should be beyond that, I think you're thinking in the right way. That's all we have to do is just think about it, be aware. So when real odd glitches go on, like sound for an example, like the train or whatever's going on all of a sudden over there, just coming to a much different change in volume. Be aware of that. Because these beings are really tricking you. They're not, I gotta be honest, they're not tricking me very much anymore. But they're tricking all of you on different amounts. If you don't stand beside me, then you don't understand my trick. My way, I should say, of understanding. They're tricking. So they do it through visual effects, sound effects, even like that whine. Excuse me. I'm gonna keep this back a little bit like that. Even that whine noise that just happened there is kind of like a engine whining or a cable whining or something like that. It's like, not like they anticipate, look at all that, not like they anticipate that it's going to be whining at that moment or whatever. So they obviously follow patterns. So when there's a certain amount of patterns and noises that are happening all the time, there's no reason for my phone to be doing that. They can do those kind of things when they want to hide too. So if all of a sudden they were somewhere in view there and I went like this, they were in good view, they can be there and out of focus in the camera and everything else is in focus. I've zoomed in on these. I got these kind of pictures and stuff like that going on with people from around the world. And you can fully see that it seems like just almost like they're in a bubble of out of focusness. Something like that, I'd say. Remember to like anything that you see of mine, if you're at all just curious to bigger than curious in my channel. Because I get no credit, but I got a lot of people who give me credit. A lot of people who point out things that I talk about. And because of those things, those are also part of my verification process. Like I verify things because I have them so many times on video in just my own accounts when I haven't done video, and watching other people's videos. Like I can see them going on with their carrying ons all the time. And so on my short selection on my channel, I've been really, I would say, good at, and I do this zoom right out, do a bit of a walk now. So I've been really good at doing a bunch of shorts that will help just kind of put your mind into more of the stuff that I'm trying to get across, of the tomfooleries of these guys, the things that are just mischievous and stuff. I do throw out the real bad ones too. Like I got a lot of theories coming along here with these, and I also am connecting them with all the ghost stories that you know. And I'm trying to get people to realize it's all been the same story. No, excluding so far, and science will only get there eventually or whatever, be able to really check into it, but excluding the dinosaur era. But, you know, those eras like that. So within this time of us just knowing things, pretty much every country has its boogeyman stories. And that's kind of what I'm talking about. Sure, we'll have our different kinds of stories all in amongst too and stuff. But every culture has a boogeyman story. And the boogeyman story is kind of just a story that we use to try to keep the kids safe and aware and stuff. But you got to think about why we came up with a boogeyman story to begin with. Why did we toy with our feelings of fear and not toy more with our feelings of confidence and strengths? And it's because the fear thing was always alive. We were always being feared upon. We're always being scared. And it comes from out here. And that's why most people won't walk in the dark. It's really hard to walk in the dark. But when you know the real answer that a bear's not going to come out of here, because I yelled a bunch of times before I started to walk, let's say, then why else would I still be afraid? Dead fish alert. And it's because of the before us beings that freaking teased the crap out of us, why they herd the world, where they just put things in weird spots, and why they pick at everything. You know, you go out and you start studying your water droplets in the dirt around your car or something like this, and you'll start realizing that sometimes it's water droplet, rain droplets that are making these marks in the dirt. But then sometimes you're going to start to realize, nah, and look at the patterns behind those. Those patterns don't even really reflect raindrops when I'm close looking at it, but they kind of give me the fooling of it from afar. And I've never thought to even look at a raindrop in the sand or on the dirt. And why is this guy even talking about it? So silly. And it's because it comes from that small to bigger than what we do. That's why. You look at those mountains back there, and science has told you a certain way of why they're shaped like that. I'll tell you a different way. I'll tell you how to watch your mountains and start to see them being taken over by leaved trees. Not that they're wanting the evergreens, the needle type trees to disappear. It's just that there's different uses, obviously, and I think the leaf type tree has a nourishment that they enjoy, and the nourishment isn't necessarily just for them. It might be just for the building of soil on Earth, which science is also confused about. but there is a connection with these guys really doing that. There are some of my YouTubers that connect with me, and we've had the odd conversation about this kind of stuff on some of the comments. So it's been something that's being thought about for a long time here, and it clicks even with some other people. So yeah, all we have to do is see, you just kind of look and realize it is so bizarre. It's so bizarre that this weird looking white freaking redneck kind of guy has a life. Like, did I go through my cocoon stage with the pregnancy of my mom to be this being? Like, I was watching some mountaineer guys the other day and stuff. They're trekking and they were doing all this stuff, going and caving and all this kind of stuff. They came across a beetle bug. And they're going, what's this doing down here? And what is it? And all that kind of stuff. And you could just exactly see that was the beetle that turns into the dragonfly. And so my mind went, how come these guys don't know that? Such explorers, and they haven't even figured that thing out. And there was something else there too. But anyways, so yeah, I'm just trying to help with my simple understanding of what's going on. Some of it might seem complex, but I'm just a simple guy who's had my simple life. I've done a lot of observing, and I get to continue this reward of observing this way. Trying to share some of it with you guys, trying to get back in the role to do what I'm doing right now. Like, it's tough. You don't see videos from me very much anymore. And it's kind of hard work. It's battling to do the little editing that I do, the comments, the responses, and all that kind of stuff that I do just based for YouTube is non-rewarding in a money way. 100%. Like I used to talk about, I made about $4,000. I used to say that a couple of years back. Yeah, I'm still around that $4,000 or something, whatever it is. It's not over $5,000, 100%, and I don't even think it's close to $5,000. I'm gonna say it's more like about $4,000. It might not even be over $4,000. Honestly, it might not be over $4,000. And so it's just silly. Other than I've been doing the short thing again, and in the short thing, yeah, I'm just kind of getting an explanation of some of the different things. Like I'm showing you a video there of a cop's car from 2017 or I can't remember, even in 1970s or something. I can't remember. Anyways, but it has all the scratches on it. I explained to you these different light functions that are shooting through our cameras like this and stuff. They're not necessarily coming from the sun. Like we thought we had fixed this kind of a problem. I don't know if you guys are seeing that light like I am, and the sun's right there. But what else is right there? If there's someone who's guiding that, because remember what the sun will do. It will give us the rainbow effect. That's why you get it out of the water. And so when they're doing it on this, or when it's happening on this clear of a thing on your phone, if you're not getting the colors that are like, there's almost pastel colors and blah 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 without purples and stuff. And then I look at all these other ones where I find them, and there's purples and stuff all over the place. I mean, there's more resembling the rainbow, the true rainbow, the real rainbow in the sky. If you look at it and you study the colors are always the same pattern. They're pretty much always the same strengths and stuff like that. It's when we take those colors and we start to mix them together and stuff like that and make all our zillions of colors all come from the basis of those colors. And don't be fooled that there is not black or white, and they're on the opposite ends of the spectrums. Why it doesn't significantly show through in the rainbow, I've got no idea. But I tell you this, I got the idea and the real experience of this connection that these guys out here are energy ability. They got some kind of a type of energy that is, let's call it electrical. Let's call it like a light glowing ability and stuff. There's been a lot of people who talked about seeing glowing eyes. There's a lot of people that talk about these orbs glowing. These talk about these spaceships. Look at most of them. They're freaking glowing, you guys. There's no craft there. Why did your mind fantasize about a craft when you look at them? There is no craft. Don't allow your mind to pretend, because your mind will pretend because there's no other answer there. So you have to guide your mind into looking for the real answer. And I'm not talking you into the real answer. You're looking for it. I'm just telling you a whole bunch of my clues and different things that I have figured out over time here. And these beings are able to be black, blacker than maybe any of the blacks we see. So it's that black, okay? And when you're standing out there different times by your forest, and you can look up to a forest in different situations, all the many different situations, and they are comfortable enough to have their presence near the edge of that forest, you will see a very dark forest. And you'll start to be able to pick out black spots. And you'll end up seeing them probably in big amounts. And that's why on a short there or something like that, some video, I'm trying to get you in. I'm filming the side of the mountain, and I'm showing you guys. I'm saying, look at out of the zillions of spots we can see in front of us right now, there's about a dozen really dark black spots in there. Why is that? Go look at them. Why isn't the sun in the middle of the day and all these trees here generating more black spots? Like, just process those thinkings and stuff. If you can't ever see anything within those black areas, then I'm sorry that you're not going to get that magical ability. But I'll tell you one heart-wrenching, before I leave here, one heart-wrenching story that really gets me, man. I've actually cried talking about it. And whatever, me even saying that, but I'm just telling you, it breaks my heart. 13-year-old boy, rest his soul, I'm sure. He never was found. He was with a scout group. You can look it up. He was with a scout group. You can see the picture. He's holding the camera right like I am right now. And in that camera picture is, all the skeptics and stuff say their answers. But I'm going to tell you, my answers are so much different than so many of those people. So I'm going to tell you what's happening right now. The little boy is walking along in the pitch of black. He's separated from the crew somehow, the scouts. I think his grand scout right now is looking for him probably or something like that, but it's become dark. It's pitch black out. So he's actually holding the camera like this. I think just one of those bought throwaway cameras, maybe something like that, it sounded like. He has the flash on it. So he has the flash on. He's got himself maybe about, I think he's doing it kind of like this or something. He's got himself a little bit in so you can see his face. When I see his face, I just see, well, man, those parents should be so proud of that boy, how powerful he was being right there. Like, you just look at him and him being able to come to the sense of, I'm going to take a picture of whatever's tripping me out right now behind me. Somebody's trying to give me a hard freaking time. I'm only 13, but I'm going to use my best logic, and I'm holding this camera like this. I'm taking a picture, and maybe you'll show up in the picture then. Maybe the flash will scare you away. Maybe whatever. Maybe the kid didn't have a whole bunch of maybes, but he was with it enough to do that. You know, they ended up finding that camera and stuff. So there's that one picture that floats around on the internet there. When it's the real picture, when it's the real clarity of it and stuff like that, if you can't see I got to tell you, I've never taken the time to count, let's say, heads or eyes or bodies or what I really believe I'm seeing there. I've never done that. But there is a number of beings in that picture, and they are in that ghostly realm of darkness, like the video that I just put up again. It's a little news clip, and it's a really good one because it shows the background really well. Look at the shadows of that thing, man. Look and think to your mind. Are you going to allow me to believe that's just a real shadow? Or are you going to start to tell me that that's some kind of significant light flashing thing? That this dude Ian's trying to tell us is also kind of from the life of the UFO kind of energy. That is going to be a real part of this living entity on our Earth's surface, and they create a lot of mayhem, but they also are the farmers of many things. Like, we get to realize they're the farmers of minerals. We're not just farmers of minerals. We're farming right there. You got to understand that, right? Never thought like that before, did you? But we're farming right there because we need it for a bunch of things. And I'm telling you, these dudes, when you go on these shows, the dudes, I meant the supernatural, when you go on these shows, and generally I'm walking around on their paths right now, I'll tell you, there's no reason why some of these paths would be even in here. A lot of them you end up noticing trying to be made to look like they were watered. Water flow through here and blah, 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 but you can get around this stuff pretty easy, thinking it through. Anyways, I hate it when I do that. It loses my get onto a different subject, but lots of times you know where I'm going with it. I don't need to keep pounding, and I was going to make that my last story anyways, that one of the young boy of 13 years of age. Go and look up his story. You can just punch it in like that. I think David Politis or something like that, he did a good show on it. And I think that was actually when I probably fully became aware of that boy. I'm not sure, I might have had heard about it before, but I think it was actually through his testimony on a show there. And seen a couple of other things and such. And yeah, I hate that stuff goes on. I hate that boy just didn't even know, because there are tricks in the trade. We're going to try to figure out, well, how come Ian's got to last so well when he's saying he's one of the closest? And part of the reason why I say I'm one of the closest is because of a lot of the challenging comments I come up with out there on my channel and some of those shorts and stuff. Like this, these guys are written in our history. I point out the history of the jinn. The history of the jinn is where we get the story of the Arab and the genie and the magic carpet and all that cool stuff comes from the history of the jinn, and knowing that they, if you ever captured one, you actually could get, some powers from them, whether it was good or bad, I don't know, blah, 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 genie, you get that, right? And what I'm trying to say is, yeah, it's authentic, sure, whatever. It's however you guys want to understand it. I'm not trying to deny that. But I'm just telling you, those people are these people. And I can say how and why I even come to saying those are these beings. And then, well, all through the Bible stories and stuff like that, there are some talks of some pretty big people, types of beings, whether they're actually human or not. I don't know. I'm not saying that that's relevant at all, because I haven't really looked into how many they talk about, or is it just the odd one? And we have them today, Fury, the boxer, right? So we have some huge, and there's many other huge guys out there that would just tower over me, and that is really huge. Because I'm not big, but freaking huge. So, anyways, yeah, I guess I'm just talking now. Here I am up in a blueberry bush fields, and I could get into talking about these guys because they're the farmers. I could teach you how they changed these plants and throughout our valley, and now they're all like huge trees. And some farms, I bet you, are going to not even get to the point where they're taking them out anymore. And they'll just keep leaving them, and they might eventually be some kind of a tree berry also at the same time. Because if you think of any of when you get to be in this spot here and realize there's so much stuff going on, like those track marks right there of that tractor, that molehill or whatever, you'll be looking at lots of different things. The planting of all this, this sweet little weed right here, the planting of all those. I remember as a kid eating those. But anyways, a little mint or something. Clovers. When you just a new subdivision that was just dug up. Nobody's built there for a year. And you go there and it's loaded with life of trees and weeds and grass and a whole bunch of different kinds of weeds, maybe even some plants that are also even putting out berries that summer, blah, blah, blah. Like, that's just not realistic. And you don't have to get into a weird spin of how the world's really going if you just follow and understand that the farmers right now could be adding some noise in with that. And even making the noise where the phone is detecting it better than my ears are detecting it, and it's creating a bigger amount of uncomfortableness there for me. If you think of the uncomfortableness of noise, and I have big uncomfortableness, so I have big dealings when I'm dealing with this stuff, and that's just from my honesty saying that. So when you start coming down a place like this, what you do is you just not necessarily study what you see down there in the black sense of it. What's that over? Good, eh? I know you probably don't see it well, but I'll tell you right now, there's going to be a whole whack of them hiding down there right now. I will say, again, I can be a little bit different on the subject, and that reason is because I'm in their face a lot. Like when you see bears scat around, well, that's quite a bear scat. There's something different, I think. But there's ways for you to understand certain things. Like bear is kind of like a pig where he doesn't care very much. You know how he's dum dum dum, and he just takes shits walking most of the time and stuff. So when you see it compiled lots of times, that can be how come every bear? And then to see them so many times on the road and stuff. Yeah, bears do like some comfort, no doubt. But I think it's more of a trance that they might be set on when they're walking in comfort. And then once they get out of that trance, whether it's their own trance or it's I wanted to say that way back, the herders. These guys, if you get into the different animal aspects of it and stuff, you can start to realize that the function of how they really do their herding, and I'm talking about local deer, why the cougars are coming into town, why the black bears are so much coming into town, blah, 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 why a black bear even gets upset with a human and stuff and will go and attack them and stuff, really doesn't make sense from the normal nature of a black bear unless he's been teased a lot. So here we can get into the rain thing. I hope you can see this a little bit, but this isn't rain. This is just whatever it is. You tell me. So you see a lot of chopped up kind of clay mud there. That's what you seen. That's not a rain thing. That's not a piece of machinery thing. That's just a weird design that I'm telling you, that design deserves to be there just as much as this. Or this planted moss. All these little tufts of grass everywhere. You know, when you're in your new subdivision there, where there's this one area where they planted grass and seems to be so bald and there's not even grass there anymore, which isn't really the real history of grass, but the grass like can get like this a lot. But for it to totally go bald in big areas and stuff like that is just not making sense because of the hardiness of grass. So there's a spot I've been watching, and they've been taking the grass and replanting it in an area that was newly constructed, that this construction never included throwing grass seed or anything on it. But it's becoming, through the summer, through our hot summer, it was healthy all summer. So just things that I look at, I notice, and I go, this is just unreal. Like, it doesn't seem real. You know, have these blueberry guys ever come out here and really planted grass and stuff? I wonder. They might have. Sure looks like they would have, but they wouldn't have planted all the weeds. And you would almost think that they do some kind of a spraying every year. And yeah, bizarre as it is, I'm sorry that I'm just the guy who has to flap the gums on it, but it's reality. Our figuring out our instinctual process isn't even near what I'm talking about yet. I don't think we're even near this point. So I'm going to be probably long dead before there's really people who are even catching on to a lot of what's going on out here. A lot of the confusion through the governments and stuff like that is based on the fear that these guys create, these supernatural ones that are creating. They tweak whoever they can get to who's oversensitive. And soon as you're an oversensitive person, they badger you even more, tweak you even more. That's why a lot of people are saying that they're having noise issues, like, different here, sort of things like that. Like, I'm legitimately in that world of where I get injured in such a way it ailed my hearing in two different ways. And because of that, I'm a very uncommon person. And because of that, it just put me in to realizing more highlighted noises and stuff. To try to figure out, okay, is that noise really coming with that thing? Or is it coming from a different direction? Like I just, different sequences. In some cases, it's not going to be helpful as like, if it's a long distance noise, maybe, and I'm with my son or something like that, he, in some cases ago, has said, yeah, do you hear this, Dad, or whatever type thing? And I'll say, no, I'm not hearing that one. And it might be just, some noise far away in a distance that I'm not, you get what I'm saying? And so, yeah, so they're just absolutely into every one of our subjects. I say that all the time. It's been saying it for years now. In all of our industries, every one of our industries is having issues by these guys. Tell me the industry that you're involved in, and I'll let you know a couple of the, or a couple, whatever. we'll have a conversation out about it or whatever, where I'll just message you back and forth here or whatever if you're interested at all. Say if you're in concrete and you build bridges, you know, maybe you're just part of the steel trade of it. I can tell you things about that. Maybe you're part of the, you're just part of the iron workers where you're just a welder and stuff. I can tell you things involving where they would be involved in your work there. Say if you're a gas pump operator, where you just walk up to a gas pump every day and you're filling people's with cars with gas. I can tell you with things all around just your spot there. Say you're a rancher out in the country. I'll tell you things about your area there. And this is only how we get the word going and people start thinking about it. And it maybe eventually becomes real. And then maybe eventually there are books written on it. And people are following a lifestyle in a way that they would in the Yukon, where it's polar bear country. They're going to have a certain lifestyle because of polar bear country that we don't down here aren't affected by. I walk around free at night, only with a concern of, 1% chance cougar, 5 to 10% chance run into a black bear. Other than that, if it's any kind of other animal, it's, I got it covered, no problem. And yeah, so if the camera is working pretty good, I got an interesting couple of prints right here I'm going to show you. Super baby one right here. And these couple of weird looking guys. And this weird one over here and stuff. And then these real ones from some guy walking around. So that could be from a pole, that could be from their dogs with them, and they're just really actually weird. So let's go with that instead. And cheers to all. Hope you enjoyed this video. Hope people watch it. Hope people take little cuts from it and try to spread a couple of points that really do make sense in here. Because there are points in here that make a lot of sense. And those people who think, somebody's been riding through my yard with their bicycle, or I seen some footprints and stuff in my backyard and stuff. And a lot of people are up thinking there's more thieves out here and stuff like that, just because of little noises and different evidence like that. Yeah, we're talking about the same thing again. So that's part of the reason why I go here. So cheers out, everybody. Coffee break time.